Shlema. Have a great week, Hatzlacha, and good vach with our Amud Yomi Shiur. We are heading another Eretz Hashem week of beautiful Gemara, a lot of Agadat, a lot of interesting stories and concepts and ideas. We are in Bava Metzia, Hey Daled Amud Beis, right in the top of the page. Come, stay, come and stay. Everybody here in Avos Shalom, our YouTube channel. Welcome to the new subscribers in the YouTube channel. Welcome to everybody, Torah Anytime. Ve'afilu hachi. We are talking here about the story about Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon was involved in catching thieves, and although the Roman government would actually kill thieves that were people that would steal, Roman government would kill them, not exactly according to halacha. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon had his own reason why he felt that was the right thing to do. We discussed that before, and Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon got the stim and mishamayim that what he did was right, although there was a dispute. Rabbi Shimon Korcha thought otherwise. So now the Gemara is telling us what happened towards the end of the life of Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon. In spite of the sign of Mishamayim, Lo Yisomach Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon adaite. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon did not rely on his own opinion, which means Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon still felt maybe it was wrong, maybe there was a righteous person, a tzaddik, that I chas v'sholom sent to death. That is a really terrible thing to live with. So what did he do? Kabil alei yisuri. He accepted upon himself yisurim. He accepted upon himself torture, suffering. What kind of suffering? His entire body became full of boils and wounds, really bad, all kinds of blood. The ur tahavu maichi leishitin namti. Every night they would put under him, they would set under in his bed 60 layers of, or 60 pieces of namti. This is felt, pieces of felt that was at night. Why? To absorb all the blood. Letzafra, in the morning, nagdi mitute shitin mashichli dama vekiva. In the morning, the tzafra, they would take from underneath him 60 mashichli. Mashichli are buckets full of blood and pus, kiva. Why 60? You should know that 60 is a number of totality. In Yiddishkeit, 60 appears a lot over here. 60 is 6 times 10. I know you know that. 6 is like the 6 Masechtes. 6 are 6 dimensions of Olam Hazeh. 6 are the 6 questions we're going to be asked in Olam Haba. And 6 are the amount of years, 600 or 6,000 years of Olam Hazeh. 6 has to do with physicality, right? And 10 is with higher level of totality. Like you have 60 Masechtes that deal with the entire life. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon was engrossed in Yisurim, and his entire being was full of Yisurim. 60. Lemachor, the morning after the first night, and that would repeat itself many times. Avda le dvitu, his wife made him shitin mine lafda. 60 types of foods made with figs. Figs is apparently very healthy. The achilahu, he would eat them. Ubari, he would get better. In other words, he did not want the Yisurim to disturb his learning, right? In other words, at night he'd have Yisurim, by day he'd learn Torah, because the Gemara says in the Barachas Daf Hey, Yisurim shel Ava, Yisurim that Hashem gives one only out of love to elevate his level in Gan Eden, are Yisurim that don't cause him Bittul Torah. If you have Bittul Torah because of Yisurim, that's not Yisurim shel Ava, it's a punishment. If you don't have Bittul Torah, that shows Hashem is just giving you that extra pain, Chalila, but you get it in order to get more Olam Haba. Would he really go to learn? His wife would not allow him to go to Koilo, to go to Bes Medrash. Why? Why not? Second wide line. But Metzia pay Daled Amud Beis, second wide line. So Rabbanot should not push him. He was still, in her opinion, fragile. Too touchy with his wounds. So even though they wouldn't bother him as much as by night, she didn't want the other Rabbanim to somehow, push him as they go along, on the way to get the hats and jackets or something, whatever. But Urta, at night, Omar Lehu, at night he would tell the Yisurim, Achai v're'ai, bo. At night, by nighttime, Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon, so much in control of Teva, of Bria, such a tzaddik, he would tell the Yisurim, Come, Achai v're'ai, my dear brothers and friends. That's how I would call the Yisurim, come. I want to have Yisurim, terrible pain. He wants that. The Tzafa Omerlu, in the morning he would tell them, Zilu, go away. Bifnei B'tul Torah, as we explained, B'tul Torah I don't want. Yisurim Shmisurim. No B'tul Torah, no Cheshboinus, no Kunzim. He wants to sit and learn. So he told the Yisurim, go, I don't want to, stop learning. Yom Echad, so he would learn at home. Yom Echad, one day, Shama Dvisu, his wife heard him talking to the Yisurim. So that got her upset. Omole, she told him, Ad kamaisis lui luyech. Oh, Rabbi Elazar, it's you who might it. You bring this upon yourself. It's your choice. Yeah, is that so? You're the one who's choosing to have Yisurim. Kilisa mamoin shel beis Abba. You are now finishing off. Yeah, you're drying out. You are finishing off the money of my father. Maybe her father was once supporting him and learning. I don't know, like some people today. Lamaisa, she said, yeah, you are finishing off the money. Yeah, so many, every night we need to have 60 new sheets, and every night, every morning we have to have so much food. The medical treatment, no medical insurance back then, you're very expensive with your Yisurim, and this is something chosen, this is something you choose. Imredo, she rebelled against him. Ozlo lebeis Nasha, she went to her father's house. Nasha usually is referred to the father-in-law, the Shver. She went to the Shver's house, her own father's house. So what happened next? So now L'choiro, he's stuck without the treatment, yeah, and nobody's there to help him. His wife is not there. Apparently, she took the kids also. She didn't divorce him, but she separated from him. What's he going to do now? Hashem Hashem has his ways of helping him. Sliku, at that very same time, there was something else that happened simultaneously. Sliku ve'atu hanach shitin sipunoi. There were 60, again 60. There were 60 sailors, 60 people in the boat, and what happened with them? They, Rashi and Tosfos explained that they had a storm. They were, trying to weather a storm. There was a very big storm, and that storm, they were threatened by the storm. The ship was going to sink. And then what happened? They davened bizchus Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. If in the merit of Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon will be saved, will help Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. They davened to Hashem and the schus Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. Now, the Meforshim, Asodim Arsha, I think, is asking why Dafka people in the boat, Dafka asked, they were davening on behalf, not on behalf, with his chus of Elazar Rabbi Shimon. Why? What's a shidduch between boatmen of Elazar Rabbi Shimon? What's the connection? He explains that it is a marshal. He says that really most Elazar Rabbi Shimon was not a very liked person by criminals. The people that were criminals didn't like Elazar Rabbi Shimon. He was a very tough Lahavdil police officer. It says that the end of Kiddushin, it says that people who work in boats, the sailor men, they are tzaddikim because they're always connected to Hashem. They always daven to Hashem. Oh, Hashem. They realize, how the boat, is like a klipa, like a piece of, rubber duck in the middle of the ocean. So they always daven to Hashem. So most other profession have some ganovim. They have some thieves, so the other people don't like it. In other words, there are computer programmers who steal, let's say, so no computer programmer likes Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon so much. There are street cleaners, they don't always like Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. The Saponim, the boat people, are such tzaddikim, they all liked him, because none of them was on the criminal side, so nobody there was against him. That's why they dafka daven, and his chus, we are tzaddikim, we are on his terms, and the daven, and the davening worked, helped, and the boat was saved. What did they do after they came to safe shores, to safe haven? What did they do? Ailulei, they brought him as a gift. They gifted him, gave him a gift. Shitin avdi, 60 slaves. Kinakti shitin arniki. Each slave was holding in his hand, I don't know, each one or each one 60. But Lamaisa, there were a lot of arniki, a lot of wallets full of money, bags full of money, carried by avodim. That's a very nice gift. The Abdul Shitin min elafda, and those slaves made him 60 different types of fig pie, fig paste, fig salad, v'ochilu, and he ate them. So the Maisa, I guess those avodim took care of him very, very well, in a very unexpected way. A person has bitachon, Hashem helps him, in all kinds of mysterious ways. Ask anybody who really sits and learns for many years, he will tell you that the parnaso of a kolol person is one miracle after the other, unexpected. Now, Yomi Echad continues the story. That's a long story. Yomi Echad, one day, Omar Lolibalta, his wife, not ex-wife, but separated wife, told her daughter, Zili Baki Ba'avuch, go and check up on your father. Check up on your father, Baki, like a Boki. Let me know what's going on with your father. Maika Ovid Haidna, Yeah, in other words, what's his story? How is he managing without me? Yeah, Micah Avidaina, what's he doing now that I left him? Asya, she went. Yeah, his daughter came to him. Omar Lo, he told her, Bozra Shimon told his daughter, Zili, go, Imri Le'imech, tell your mother, Shalonu Godel Mishaloim. Ours is greater than yours, which means my richness is greater than yours. His wife came from a rich home. He said, I'm richer than you. Wasn't Chas Shalom coming to boast or compete? He said, Hashem takes care of me in other ways. Yeah, thank you very much, my dear wife. But Lamaise, Hashem, granted me a gift, and now I am managing better than I managed with you. Kari anafshe, and then he called upon himself the pasuk. Yeah, thanking Hashem, he called upon himself the pasuk. In other words, there was a boat. My bread, my sustenance came from far away, from unexpected places, and that's not the wife. It's not the Eshes Chayil. There's a different Eshes Chayil. The boat came with all this maise, with the sailor, with the boatman. Hashem helped me, mimerchak, from far unexpected way. That's how you should live. You never know where your money comes from. Ochal, he ate, v'shosi, ubori, he ate and he drank and he got better with the help of those 60 slaves. Yeah. Nofak lebei midrosho. Now, not under his wife's vigilance anymore. She wasn't there to not allow him to go to Bais Medrash. He got better. Now he's a free man, not under the yoke of his wife, who did not allow him to go to Bais Medrash anytime. He went to Bais Medrash. Oh, finally back to where he liked to be. Aiselakamei shiten minidama. They brought in front of him 60 types of blood, which means women. It wasn't just the koilel man. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon was from Gedolei Ador, and it was a posek halacha. Just like today, a woman shows the dam nida to the rov, so too 60 different types of 60 women. Again, 60. Interesting. 60 women. Each one showed him, the mara, the beged, the blood. Tarinu. All 60 maras were tahor. He was mitayr. He paskined tahor, paskined pure. Go back and be with your husband. Go to the mikveh, be with your husband. No problem. To 60 different women. Ava kamerani ni rabbonon. Yeah, Rabbanon, the other Rabbanim of this Medrash were like Meranen. They were like talking. They were like talking and saying, really? The Amri, they would say, all 60 maris, which by those free women was a sofek, none of them is a real sofek. Isn't it too mako? Isn't this Rabbi too mako for you? Yeah, that's too modernish. Yeah, what's going on here? Yeah, no, not even one sofek. Omer Lehu, it's not so popular with Avrechim. Omer Lehu, he told them, so, I'll give you a sign, Mishamayim. I'll give you a siman. In Kemoisihu, if I'm right, if it's like me and all 60 maris are really tahor, are really good, you kulam zechorim. All children born from those relations that they're going to have will be boys. And we can follow that. When all the women became 60 women, Rachel, Leah, Prince Abela, Tochte, Yente, Yachne, each one of the 60 women are going to have relations. Follow them in about 9 months from now and see if all 60 births will be boys. Then I was right. If I was Chalila wrong, then at least there should be one nekeva amongst them. Why is that a siman? The Maharsha explains, because if I am right, the chorim themselves, the boys, don't have dam nida. Last time I checked, even in 2023, men don't see dam nida. So if the dam nida was not a dam nida, there'll be boys who don't have dam nida. But if I'm wrong and some of them were really nida, then a girl who carries nida will be the outcome of that. And guess what happened? All 60 were zechorim. Such a tzaddik, such a goin, such a everything. They're all zechorim. Yeah, all 60 birth. Yeah, they gave birth. All 60 women gave birth to men, to boys. 1 second. Vasikul Ablazar al Shmei, and all of them called their children Ablazar after him. Yeah, he was still alive. Sfardi. Yeah, 60 boys, all called Rabbi Elazar. He'd go to Cheder, say Rabbi Elazar, all heads turn. Yeah, like you go to Ger and you go Pinchas Menachem, they all turn their heads. Yes, I'm listening to every word you're saying, Baruch. Nice comment from Baruch here. You're saying that this case of Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, he didn't paskin according to Ruach HaKodesh. He paskin the Maris according to Halacha. that this blood is sore because of his knowledge and experience in halacha. The Achar Maisa, he wanted to show the other Rabbanim, look, Hashem is on my side. But he didn't paskin based on Bas Kol that this should be so and so. He paskin, goodbye. Afterwards, it was, Achar Maisa, Simon Mishamayim. It's not the same thing? Thank you. Weiter. Let's continue. Now he's making a very strong statement. Okay. Omar Tanya. Oh, now comes the Brisa and says the following. A comment the Gemara makes on what just happened now. Omar Rebbe, says Rebbe, Tama Piri Verivia Bitla Risho Azu Misroel, or Rish Azu Misroel, which means, look, oy vavoy, this entire time, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon wasn't there, caused how much Piri Verivia, these women may have that question or similar questions all this time. I don't know if he was years or times or months. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon was absent, and he wasn't there to allow the women to be with their husbands. That's terrible. That's not no Piri Verivia. So therefore, kama Piri Verivia, how much Piri Verivia, how much children being born out of relations, how much Piri Verivia, bitla Risho Israel. This wicked one, was mevatel, it annulled and basically uprooted Piri Verivia from Israel, which is the wicked one that caused lack of Piri Verivia from Israel. Two explanations. Either the Roman government, because the Roman government, it's their fault. They're the ones who got Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon to the job, and according to some, they forced him. Yeah, that's what some say. The whole mice happened because of that, indirectly. Let's look at the root. Because of the Roman Empire, they got him to be in the police. That's why he was home. And that's why there was no Piri Verivia. All these women, misofek, wouldn't touch their husbands. Second pshat is that he spoke about his wife. Rebbe said that the wife of Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon is the wicked woman. Because of that Resha who didn't allow him to go to his medrash, there was no Piri Verivia. Now the question is, you can't say she was wicked because Rebbe was the one making the statement, and Rebbe was Rabbi Elazar's friends. Rebbe is the one who wanted to marry her afterwards. After the Ptir Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, Rebbe, he basically asked her to marry him. Yeah, he said to her, "Will you marry me?" After, so why is he calling her wicked? So they say not Resha, Risho. It's a rishus. In other words, she's a good woman, but the fact that she actually stopped her husband from going to Bes Medrash to learn, that was the wicked action, not resha'a, but rish'a, a wicked deed, a bad deed, an avera. It was an avera, like this is a rishus, or what a rishus. Not that the person is a rosha, but the act is rishus because of that rishus, because of that wickedness, because of that. Look, so much Piri Verivia was, unfortunately, was stopped, was evaded from us from Klal Yisrael. That was the comment of Rebbe, and we're going to meet Rebbe later. Here, she tried to protect her husband, but unfortunately, that was wrong. Yeah, he should have gone to shul. He should have gone to Bes Medrash to learn with everybody and answer the questions. He was a public figure. There was a psak halacha that he was supposed to give, and he didn't. So apparently, Rebbe didn't see, in a good eye, the fact that his friend didn't come to Bes Medrash. Yeah, she meant well, but it wasn't right to stop him. I'm not the one saying it. It's Rebbe saying it. Yeah. Tanya, Omar Rebbe. Sorry. Now comes the second part of the story. When Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, not Rabbi Elazar, but Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, when he was about to die, he was about to be nifter, he saw that his time is coming. He asked, he was back with his wife, apparently. They were back together. And he asked his wife, I know Rabbanon, I know that the other Rabbanim, in town, I know that they're angry with me. They're not going to bear me properly. I'm scared they're not going to be washing me. They won't wash me properly, won't bear me properly enough. I'm scared they'll be mistreated by my colleagues, the other Rabbanim that they were in charge, I guess, with no Chaver Kadisha, I guess, maybe not giving me hesped. I'm concerned that my kvura, my burial business, will not be taken care of the proper way. And therefore, I have an alternative solution, not cremation. What did he ask to do? Place me, I should go to sleep in the attic. Don't be scared of me. In other words, I will die. I'll be physically dead, and I'll be lying in the attic, and that's it. I won't be buried. No burial place. Yeah, I'll just be sleeping there forever. I'll be dead, physically dead, apparently, not buried. Alternative. Now, the question is, how could he do that? How could he have done that? Because the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Daf, Mem, Vov, I think, the Gemara says, as far as I know, there's a mitzvah to bury people. Yeah, why can't you just let someone lie on the floor? Maybe that'll be the next fashion after cremation, to just let people lie on the grass, to decay. There are two reasons why people should be buried, and that fashion would not be looked at nicely in halacha. Answer number one, what? It's a gnai, very good. It's a gnai for the family to see the body decomposing and all the worms coming, right? That's not nice. Secondly, the actual kvura, even if the person is a tzaddik and his body does not decay, like tzaddikim, the bodies do not decay, same thing, still, you bury the person as a kapara. One part of kapara avoidance of the person after the death is the fact that he goes to the kever. The kever is dark, not pleasant place to be. I don't think so. I've never been there in current incarnation. And therefore, Lamaisa, it's not a good place to be. That's chibut kever. Chibut kever is described terribly as yisurim for the mace. So that's good for the mace to get yisurim before he goes to Olam Haba. Lamaisa, takes away from Gehenna. So now, Rabbi Elazar Shimon has no reason. Mitzad decaying, he already did the test. We saw the first part of the story. He already did a litmus test, a lab test. He's not going to decay. And mitzad, so that's okay. And mitzad, Yisurim, instead of Gehenna, he already had Yisurim Shalava. He had Yisurim all the time. He knows he's no reason to be buried. He will not decompose, and he doesn't need the tsar of the Kibbut HaKever. He already has his Yisurim. All is good. Yeah, even his wife didn't let him go to Koilel. All the Yisurim he had together. Very nice. So Mimela, why should he be buried? No reason for him to be buried. All very nice. And it worked for a while. Now, Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani tells us, Ishtoili ime do Rabbi Yonason, the mother of Rabbi Yonason told me, the Ishtai lo, that Dvisu Ishtai, she told Dvisu do Rabbi Elazar Shimon, the wife of Rabbi Elazar Shimon told Rabbi Yonason's mother, who told me, how long was he there in the attic? Lepochos mitamne sari. I don't remember, but he was there no less than 18 years. I didn't see any significance in his numbers, but she says, I don't know, but he was there between 18 and 22 years. Could be between 18 and 22 is there maybe an in-between stage of, you'll see there were stages to his death. Lamaisa, yeah, he was there for a long time, either 18 or 22 years. He was lying in the Aliyah, and that was his so-called burial place. Now, Ognise Be'elisa, now go back to the story. She placed him, Gani is to lie in Aramaic, yeah? Lie, not to tell a lie, to lie down, lie flat. Ognise Be'elisa, she laid him down, she made him lie down in the Elisa, in the attic, Aliyah, in the attic. He have a salikna, one time, she went up, Ma'inanale, now actually it's not one time, when she would go up to be me'ayin, yeah, she would, look and see what's going on with him to check up on him. She would look in his hair. Binisa is one hair. Mazia is hair in general. Binita is one hair. When one hair would be mishtamet, would be taken, plucked out of his hair, have asi doma, blood would come out. He was so much intact and physically dead, but so fresh and not dead. In other words, he had no death signs, that even the blood would come out of the root of the hair. So he was in that state. Yeah, more like a state of coma. I don't know if you call that dead. You don't call it dead. It was, dead, but, the systems were working. Mitzad, nothing was decomposed. Yom Echad, however, one day, she was checking up on him, and she saw something worrying. She saw Richsha the Kanafik Mi'une. She saw Richsha, that is like a small worm, the Kanafik Mi'une. She saw a worm coming out of Une, out of his ear. She saw a worm coming out of his ear. So now she was concerned, she was all of a sudden Cholashadaita. She was besides herself, she was worried. Why was she worried? Maybe it's beginning to decompose. What am I doing now? I'm relying all the time on the fact such a tzaddik is never decomposed. Sheder. So I have a sleeping husband in the attic. He sleeps for many, many years. Sometimes women are upset with husband for oversleeping. He's sleeping there for many years. Gezun tehed. But if now, lahavdil. But if now he's beginning to decompose because I see one ear coming out, maybe that's the first of many. So she was concerned. Then he replied to her concerns. He addressed her concerns. Itchazi li bechelma. She's now telling the story, his wife. He showed himself to me. He came to me in a dream, in a chelma. He came to me in a dream. Omer li, and he told me, don't worry, loy midihu. It's nothing, meaning it's not a sign of beginning to decompose. I'm not beginning to decompose. You know why it's happening to me? That the worm is coming out of my ear, dafka the ear, right? The ear and not the mouth or the arm. Why? Yomi echad, there was one time, Shami, I heard bezilusa the tzuvim elbonon. I heard people slighting, people speaking in a disgraceful manner about a tzuvim elbonon, Talmid Chacham. They were talking badly about a Talmid Chacham. V'lo mechoy kedebai li, and I was not moicha, I did not protest as I should have. I protested, but not kedebaili. Wow, unbelievable. I did not protest enough, when they spoke against the Talmud Chacham, a worm coming out of such a tzaddik. That shows us. If we hear people talking about the Talmud Chacham, and it happens, unfortunately, you have to protest. Let's say there's a Rov, whichever Rov, I'm not going to say names. Instead of saying the name of the Rov, they just use his first name, without saying Rav, you have to correct them and say Rav so and so. And you have to do that even if they're against that Rav. They're going to look at you badly. You have to protest when you hear a person who doesn't call a Rav is an apikoros. More in Sanhedrin. Unbelievable. Yep. Oof, something. Yeah, in Chelik. So we see how severe that is. Question. I'm also asking questions here. My turn. So the question is, my high. He was there for, it doesn't say what year it happened. That's 18 years, 22 years. When is it that all of a sudden, Kivyachol Baruch was reminded to get the ear, to get the worm out of the ear? Why didn't it happen in the end or at the beginning? Yeah. Well, why stam one sunny day? Answer I think against the Maharsha says two answers. Either there was the first yort site of that tzaddik. There was a certain tzaddik that Rabbi Elazar did not defend enough, whoever the tzaddik was. I don't know, Rabbi Akiva, someone. So the first yort site, that's when it happened. Or it happened many yort sites after that, there's a reminder. Or maybe that happened when that tzaddik was nifter. When that tzaddik was nifter, the tzaddik went to Shemaim. Just like the tzaddik judges others when it comes to Shemaim. Interesting. They make all the cheshbonis. Because the tzaddik went to Shemaim and now his books are opening to all directions, now Shemaim claim, and fight for his rights, for his covet in the Aretz, and the worm came out of his ear. Unbelievable. Yes. Okay. 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 Sometimes people would come to Din Torah because, again, people thought that he was home. People, as Baruch was asking, the man in the street was sure that Rabbi Elazar was home, but sick, but, unavailable. Where is he? In the attic? They think he's in the attic learning Torah, with air condition on. They didn't think anything else. Okay. So now, sometimes people would come to Din Torah, they would sit by the door. They would stand by the Bava, by the door downstairs on the first floor. He was on the upper floor. They would stand downstairs. Each one would say his claims. Nofik kalami Elisa. A voice came from the attic, the Omar, saying, Ish ploni atachayev, Ish ploni atazakai. Wow. In other words, there was a heavenly voice, which was really Rabbi Elazar's ruach, Rabbi Elazar's spirit, Rabbi Elazar's something, He would come and say, you're chayiv, you're a zakai, but it wasn't his direct psak because he was dead. He was halachically nifter, but his neshama could read. His neshama was still hovering there because, until the person is buried, his neshama is not fully upstairs. It takes time. Until his head hits the grave, that's when the neshama really goes. So he was dead, but the neshama was floating. So to exactly define it, that's beyond me. But there was some kind of, heavenly connection to Rabbi Elazar that would say to the two litigants, you are right and you are wrong, you have to pay him. And that's what they would follow. Now, the question is, now comes your question. If this wasn't a real person alive and paskening, how could these people get the psak? He's not really alive and he's not really paskening. It's his ruach, it's his spirit, it's something as if Shemaim is paskening, and we say lo b'Shemaim hi. Answer more than one. I think the Maharsha and others they answer the same thing. Why do we dafka talk here about din Shemaim and not dinim of Yoredea? Why couldn't he show his wife a chicken or Mara maybe she doesn't, or ask him a question in a Yoredea? A pot fell into my microwave with a chicken from 3 days ago. For like the women always ask, Why not these questions? The answer is as follows. By Yoredea, which is clear cut halacha, you don't get ghosts to answer, neshamas to answer. But by Chosh and Mishpat, it's all the decisions of the Baladin. If the Baladin accept some kind of spiritual power to be the mediator, to be the arbitrator, then Gesundheit. Even Shlosha Roy Boker, we can decide that three very, very simple people, three cowboys, literally cowboys, Roy Boker, can be our Bezdin. If the other litigant and myself accept upon themselves that that's good, it's a good psak because it all depends on us. A woman, anybody, yeah, you can have a woman, you can have whatever you want. The Ruach of Rabbi Elazar is not worse than that. So Master Rabbi Elazar, from his spiritual stand, he would paskin to people who would readily accept himself. Maybe they thought he was alive, maybe not. It's not so clear. But Lamaisa, yeah, that's the way it worked up until one point. Until one day he had to be buried. One day that agreement, that the nice time was over. And he had to be brought into Kvura, and that happened because of one of two things. Yom Echad, option number one, alternative number one. One day, Avaka Metzia Dvitu Badei Shiva Veso. One of his wife had a fight, she had a row with one of her neighbors. Okay, it happened. No, he didn't give me back the sugar, whatever, something, she had a fight with a neighbor. Omrlo, she told her, the neighbor told Rabbi Elazar's wife, I wish upon you, you'd be like your husband who was never given to Kvura. Ooh, wow. So there was already something of common knowledge. Yeah. Amri Rabbanon, the Rabbanon who knew about the secret, they said, Kuli hai, oh, that much? Every woman in the street knows about it, and she knows that he's dead but not buried. Yeah, the mamish know the story. That's not derech eretz. For the men in the street or the women in the street, every man, woman, and child to know clearly that he's dead but not buried, that's not covered Talmid Chachamim. It's not covered the Torah. Lomatim. That's not right. Ikadamri. Some say that the reason why they had to change the game was different. They say Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is chozi lehu bechelma. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai came to Chachamim in a dream. Omar lehu. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was the father of the main protagonist, right? Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was the father of Rabbi Elazar, yeah? And he told them, Preda achas yesh li beinechem. I have one preda, I have one gozal, one fledgling. I have one fledgling, yeah, amongst you. That's thank you very much. That's Loshen Chiba. V'yetem roitzim lavia etzli. You don't want to bring him to me. In other words, he's not really in Shemaim. His neshama is not in Shemaim. I'm his father. I miss him in Shemaim. It's not like his wife is enjoying him or his children or his friends. Anyhow, he's dead. Yeah, he's nishta her. You know, he's in olam hazeh. His neshama is not in olam haba. I want to enjoy my kid. You know, I have one child. Apparently, no other children. Seder, or another one surviving child. I want him upstairs with me. I want to enjoy him in Shemaim, in Gan Eden, to learn with him Torah all day long, like in the good old days. And therefore, Azul Rabbanon la'asuki bei. Rabbanon came, you know, playing Chevra Kadisha to deal with his Asuki, like you have in America, Misaskim, yeah? Asik with a mace. They came to Misasik and deal with his Kavura. That wasn't so simple. L'shavku b'nei Achbaraya. There was the town called Achbaraya, not a mouse. There's a place in the Galil, Rabbi, called Achbara. It's an Arab place, and there's a very nice place there for picnics in Ala Eish, if you want to go there. Achbara. There is a small. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon lived in the Galil, possibly. Yeah, like he's buried not far from. He's buried with his father. Achbara. There was a place called Achbara near where he lived. So the people from until today there's such a place. Lo shavku b'nei Achbaraya. The townsfolk of the village or town called Achbara, lo shavku, that did not allow the burial to happen. They knew he was there in the attic, and they dafka wanted him to stay there. They protested. Yeah, they protested. Made a hafgana. They call why? What do they care? They call shani davanayim Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon Beilise. For all these years, during all these years, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon would be asleep. However you call that state of coma. Yeah, his aliyah and his attic. There was no bad animal that would come to the town. In other words, they had that protection. They were actually very close to his town, and they saw that there's like a good, you know, omens, good amulets, kilu. The fact is they're alive but dead. Next to them, there's no chayara. The Mefarshim explain that it says that why does Chayro come to the world? Why is it the bad animals, the voracious animals come and attack people and children? Sometimes in America there was a bear who took a baby, Lolenu. Why is that? Because of lack of justice. Now, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, when he was dead, he did a lot of Dinei Torah. Dafka people would accept it even more. Heavenly voice, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, Paskin, you owe your friend $10,000, you would give it straight away. So Dafka, after his death, it would actually be a big dayan, yeah? So I don't know how much people knew or didn't know, but Lamaisa, they felt that justice was done because of his presence there, and therefore there's no bad animals coming. So they wanted him to stay there. They did not allow the Chachamim. They stood by the door. No way, yeah, Hafgana, demonstration, yeah? And then, however, what happened next? Yom Echad, one day, Ma'ali Yom de Kippuri Hava, it was Erev Yom Kippur, Havu Tridi, the people of Achbar were busy. Usually, every Yom Kippur, you're busy, eating, preparing, whatever, you're busy, mentally busy. Yeah, every Yom Kippur. And then, Chachamim Chap Torain, Chachamim Chap, they seized the opportunity that the protesters were too busy. Shadru Rabbanon sent messengers Lebnei Biri. Biri was another nearby town. There are two nearby towns. Yeah, Bira. Bira is also up north. Yeah. No, there's a place. There's some. Yeah, no. I'm serious. There was another town called Biri, and those people didn't mind to bury him. Vaskul Arse, and they took his bed. The people of Biri did cooperate with Rabbanon. They took his bed. They went to Meron. They went to the Me'ora of his father. Very nice. And they went to bury him next to his father, as is customary, even today. Back then, even more. There was Me'ora Skvura, a burial cave. Yeah, they wanted to bury him next to the father. What happens next? Not so simple. Ashkechu le'achna. They found a snake. The hadral me'arta. The snake basically completely circulated and circumvented in full circle the Me'ora. Rashi says that his tail, it's all one big tail, you know, by snakes, the end of his tail was in his mouth. In other words, yeah, a full circle, no entry. The snake is there. Yeah, I'm not letting you in. Yeah, the snake doesn't allow him to go into the cave. Why snake? Usually, snake in the cave means Baal Hara. No. Here, the Meforshim say, because it says the Gemara in Shabbos Nafnan Heom with base, it says the four people who are great tzaddikim who never ever sinned. Why do they die at the end of the day? If theoretically somebody never ever sins, yeah? So then why does he die? Et yoshel nachosh, because of the snake. In other words, we all die at the end of the day because we're human. Why did Hashem tell Adam Harishon that he's going to die eventually? Because of the Maisa with the snake and Chava and eating the fruit, Eitzadas, right? Okay, so now, very good. The snake says, listen, there's no reason for him to be here except for me. I, the snake, I'm the only one who's in charge of his death. It was Nachash HaKadmoini. Otherwise, this guy is not really supposed to be dead at all. He's supposed to still be maybe in that coma, but not final death in the caver. Omru lo, they told him. So now the burial people, the undertakers, yeah, they spoke to the snake. There was dialogue, conversation, very pluralistic. And they spoke to him and they said, Achna, snake, pitchi pich. They spoke to him as if he's a female. Pitchi pich, open your mouth, please. Vikonis ben etzel aviv. We want the son to come to his father. You're not doing him a favor by not letting him be buried. He wants to be next to his daddy. His father is the one who invited him to Shamayim. They want to be together, like they were originally in the Me'ora, the good old days. Pasach lehu. He opened the door, his mouth, disconnected from his zonov, and then they went in and they buried him until today with David in the Me'ora of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Elazar Bnoi. That's what it says in the sign, if I'm not forgetting, if I remember right. So he was nifter. He was finally nifter. Now his wife stayed single almono. Now he has an almono, his wife. And he had a friend called Rebbe. And Rebbe's vocation, as we see, was to take care of Yasomim and Almonos. Rebbe wanted to marry his wife. She's alone. Let's marry her. Sholach Rebbe l'daber b'ishtoi. Rebbe sent messengers, not he himself. Yeah, Hasidish. He sent messengers l'daber b'ishtoi to talk to his wife and try, ask the shadchan to ask her, will you marry a Rebbe? Yeah, Gadol Rebbe, would you like to marry him? Choshev a mensch, yeah. You want to email the CV? What? Yalamaisa l'daber b'ishtoi. She sent him back a very strong message. A vessel that was used by a holy one should be used by the secular, not secular, by choil, but by the relatively less holy. In other words, I'm used to my husband. My husband is holy. I can't bring myself down to be mishtamish. You're going to use the chol. Yeah, I'm used to a higher level, higher caliber, which is Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon didn't mince her words. The Meforshim explained something here. She wasn't being nasty and she wasn't being sharp-tongued. I mean, maybe she was in our terms. She definitely wasn't British. But the point was that, yeah, it's a compliment. Yeah. The point was, she says, it says in the Gemara, you have to go down and marry a woman, a wife who's below you in level, so she should appreciate you. If you marry a wife who doesn't hold the view as God or that's not good marriage. So it's just not going to work. You know, let's just be realistic. I'm used to somebody greater than you. I will not appreciate you during our marriage life. So that's just not going to work. That's what she told him. Yeah, she was honest and practical. Yeah, and a wife has to. Chazon Ish says, "Elea einea nesuas elov," looks up to her husband. It's not going to happen with us because I'm used to a greater guy. He's greater than you. My ex is greater than you. Okay, well, one more line. 1 second. And there was another nice mushal over here. Tamon Amrin over there. They used to say in Eretz Israel they would phrase her statement differently, and they say as following: Be'atar, in the place the maribeta tala zene, in the place where Baal Abais, the Choshev mentioned, the hero, the Gibor, when the hero in that peg where he would hang his weapons, his nice sword, his weapons, in the same place, kul beraya, kul tetala, in the same place, the Rash says the naval, the what's his name, the shepherds of the dogs, the simple guy, the dog shepherd would hang up his kulte, his basket. It's not the same place. Yeah, that peg is used to be used for fancy, nice sword weapons. It's going to be used for the little miscane. What a degrading thing. It's degrading for me to be married to you because I'm used to somebody of a higher level. Azoy, straight. What? What? Sipporah was Moshe's wife, yeah. Okay, so let's continue. So now, okay, they're still conversing. Rebbe is still trying. Now, Sholchole, she sent, no, 1 second. Sholachlo, Rebbe replied to her, you know, Sholachlo, Rebbe SMS back to Reb Elazar's widow. Nehi de betoyer godel mimeni, he's saying he's greater than me. Let's analyze it. Nehi, what's Nehi? Although betoyer godel mimeni, it's true betoyer is greater than me, I admit. Aval b'maisim toivim, he godel mimeni. How do you know in maisim toivim, you know, good deeds, mitzvahs, good midos, how do you know that he's greater than me? Maybe I'm greater than him. Sholchole, she was a sharp woman. She sent him back a message. B'toira mia godel mimcha lo yodana. Says Rashi, I didn't know he was greater than you in Torah. I'm a woman. I don't know about, you know, who knows the Ktsois Nesiv is better. I don't know who's better, but Rashi says, you put your foot into it. You just admitted he's greater than Torah. I didn't even know that. You're playing against your own cards, yeah? But the Maisim Yodana, Maisim Tovim, I know he's greater than you, the Kabila Le Yisuri, because he accepted upon himself Yisurim, which is Maisim Tovim, and you never did, as far as I know. So I know that when it comes to Maisim Tovim, Yisurim, which is in the area of Maisim Tovim, of coming to Shemaim so pure, he's the one who accepted it. And you see, in retrospect, she appreciated it, yeah? And now he's definitely greater than you. I never saw you, you know, with 60, you know, full of blood the entire night, right? So therefore, I know he's greater than you in Torah, as you yourself admit, and in Maisim Tovim, as I myself know. So far, she's not interested in marrying him, and that seems to be the end of the story. The Gemara is now asking, B'Torah Mahi, well, what exactly is the story where we all know seems to be, you know, agreed that in Torah, Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon is greater than Rebbe. Mahi, what is it? How do you know? Yeah, how do you measure? How do you know it's greater? Let's see the following story. The story inside the story. The Havu Yatvi Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. You have to know the who's who in the story. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel was the father of Rebbe. Rabbi Yeshua ben Kolcha was the son of Rabbi Akiva, who was the Rebbe of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. So the son of the Rebbe of who? Yeah, Rabbi Shimon ben Kolcha was the son of Rabbi Akiva. I checked it. I always sort of knew it, but I checked it actually it's a Gemara. It's actually Rashi in somewhere. It's a Rashi. Rabbi Shua ben Korcho, Rabbi Akiva was bald, Korcho Kereach. Rabbi Shua, son of the bald one. So Rabbi Shua ben Korcho, remember Rabbi Shua ben Korcho is the one who also rebuked Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Shimon, because he was the son of the Rebbe, while Rabbi Elazar was the son of the Talmud. Yeah, it's like, let's say you have a Rebbe, yeah, so the son of the Rebbe would talk to your son. The son of the Rebbe talks to the son of the Talmud. That's one level above. So now, the two big ones, the two adults, the father of who? Of Rebbe, and the spiritual father, sort of Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, Yatvi Asafsali, they were in a rabbinical assembly, Besmendo, sitting and learning. They were sitting on the bench, which was a higher place, a mechubed, a respectful place in the days. Yasvi Kamai Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon veRebbe, the younger generation, who Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon and Rebbe, our protagonists, they would sit on the floor. They were younger, so the younger generation sits on the floor, and there were other Rabbanim on the bench. The bench had a nice gallery of Talmidei Chachamim, and the younger ones, namely Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon and Rebbe, were now trying to compare who's greater than who, right? They are the stars of the show. They are now sitting on the floor, and you know what happened? Makshu, Mefarku, the younger ones were very sharp. They would ask and answer. They would play the game very well, the young ones, in Torah, B'chol Torah Kula. Amri, so now the greater people said, Meimen anu shoisim, hem yoshvim al gabi kaka. We are drinking from their water. We have to admit, the younger ones are giving us information. We're drinking from the water of their Torah. Them yoshvim al gabi kaka. They're sitting on the ground, not mechubad, not the pasnish, while they're sitting on the ground. Let them join us in the upper deck. Yeah, Avdulu Safsali, they made them benches, Vaskinu, and they brought them up. Come on, welcome aboard. Come to the big boys club, to the big Rabbanim, to the bench. Amalen Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who is the father of Rebbe, who was brought up, Rebbe and Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon. Rabbi Shimon was not alive anymore. Yeah, his mentor was Rabbi Shua ben Korcha. So now, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, I'm scared of Ein Hora. Same lashon as before. I have one fledgling. I have one, nice kid. Is this a kind? Amongst you, but you want him to chas v'sholom get lost, which means he's going to die because of Ein Hora. He's very young. It's very out of line to put such a young man in the top table, the top row. So people are going to look and stare and create Ein Hora. I don't want the cover. Thank you very much. I'm not a Yiddish Shamame. Putting back down on the floor. Achtula Rebbe. They put Rebbe back down on the floor because of Ein Hora, of his father being concerned. Omalen Rabbi Shua ben Korcho. Rabbi Shua ben Korcho, who takes care of his men, of Rabbi Elazar, says, Mi sheyesh la'av yichye, mi she'en la'av yomus. Whoever has a father will live, whoever doesn't have a father will die. Which means Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon is also susceptible to Ein Hora. Poor man, he doesn't have a father to protect him. Just because he doesn't have a father is going to die because of Ein Hora. In other words, I'm here instead of his father, and I'm asking you to put him down also on the floor, so he shouldn't die because of Ein Hora, shouldn't be harmed because of Ein Hora. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, they put Rabbi Elazar down also on the floor. So far you see that Rebbe and Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon are treated equally. They're on the floor together, up together, down together, v'chulei. At some point, Cholesh Daite, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon felt this is not right. And we have to understand this, and we will explain it. Now, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon felt that this is not right because he knew that his level of learning is above Rebbe. It was just reality, as we're going to see soon. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon was of a higher level than Rebbe, and he's being treated the same way. Omar, he told them, Kachashavitu le kavosi, you consider him to be like me. You think he is on par with me? He's not. Yeah, in other words, and now we're going to see what the mistake was. Really, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon was on a higher level of Rebbe. He only played it, he humored him, gave him the feeling as if they're equals because of COVID. He didn't want to be gaivadik, so he played the game like you have a weaker chavrusa. You want the weaker chavrusa to feel good. You say, oh, that's an excellent question. You don't really mean it. Just trying to be makar of him, yeah? So, what? Placate, okay? Placate him, right. Ad hahu yoimo, up until that day, when actually Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon saw that it makes a real difference, up until that point, ki hava Omar Rebbe milsa, when Rebbe would say milsa, dvar Torah, have a Messiah Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon would have helped him, would bring a raya. Oh, so nice, Rabbi. He's saying that. I'll bring you a proof from this and that Mishnah. Also shows that he has more knowledge, right? Oh, the Gemara there says like you, the Mishnah there says like you. Mikan va'elach, once he saw that people really think that his level is the same as Rabbi, because they're like, like talking together, he said that has to stop because people don't realize that what I should be on a higher place. He had the Omar at that point he changed his skin and he behaved differently. He have from that point what would he do? He have the Omar Rebbe Yeshli Lahoshiv. Whenever Rebbe would start opening his mouth and say, I have a question, I have a comment to make, Omar Reb Shimon would basically jump the gun before him, and he would say, Kach v'kach yesh lecha lahoshiv. I know what you're going to say. I know already what you're going to say, not mechadish anything. You have to say so and so. Do it shuvoscho, and I'll answer you. I'll do the whole work for you. You're going to ask X. I'm going already to answer you Y. You basically make it fast. You are surrounding us with chavilos, many questions with no essence. In other words, your questions I can already ask and answer at the same time. In other words, he wanted to show. Now you have to understand the Tanoim, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. His level was so high. Yisurim, stories came clean to Shamayim. He wasn't chas v'sholem playing covered games. Elamai, a Talmud Chochem felt that he really has to be the Rosh Hashiva, because he has more to give. The question of sitting at the table wasn't stam covered, like they give covered that bin Uma to a greater rabbi, not who's going to sit in the top place in Siyum Hashas, 15 and a half in the stadium in New Jersey. The idea is really who should serve as Rosh Hashiva. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon felt I can be a Rosh Hashiva, a Dayan, whatever the job is, more than him. I can really give the generation more. Yeah, so something wrong is happening here. So now Cholesh daited the Rebbe. The Rebbe felt very bad. Rebbe was proven to be on a lower level than Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. And the question is why? Why is my friend, we were the same age, same stage more or less, why is it that he's greater than me? Also, Omer Lelavua, he came to unburden himself to his father. Daddy, can you please help me? Can we have a talk? Yeah. He wanted to talk to his father. Who was his father? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Yeah. Omer Le, what? Rabban Shimon Gamliel. Omer Le, Bni, my son, Ali Alecho, don't feel bad. Shehu, him, your friend who's better than you, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, Ari ben Ari. He is a lion, son of a lion. The Ata Ari ben Shual. You're a lion, son of a fox. Speaking about himself. In other words, his father is greater than me, so he got more Torah from his father. He has a better starting point. He's a son of the great Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. You can compete against him. I am not a bad guy. I'm Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabban Shimon Gamliel, thank you. But I'm not as great. I'm a shual. I'm just a fox comparing to the father. It's not your fault. It's where you came from. Behind the Omer Rebbe, on that Rebbe said, Rabbi himself made a comment, and he said, Shloisha and Veson in hand. There are three people in Jewish history that were real onav, besides Moshe Rabbeinu. I guess he was more. There are three real humble people, and these are Ve'elu Abba. My father was a real onav. My father was a real humble person, yeah, because of admitting that he's a fox comparing to Rabbi Shimon Yochai. Bnei Beseira, we're going to discuss tomorrow who they were. There were people who brought Hillel to be a Nasi. There were Nesim in Eretz Yisrael. They brought Hillel when we came from Bavel. They made him a Nasi instead of them. The Yonasan ben Shaul, Yonasan, the son of Shaul, he made David, or would have liked to see David as a Melech, even though he would be only second to the throne. Yonasan could have been, the heir, the successor of Shaul as a Melech. And he gave it to David. So these three people are Anovim. We're going to discuss these three people tomorrow, Meretz Hashem. But basically, we see the great Anova of who? Of Rabban Shimon Gamliel, the father of Rebbe, that said, I'm a fox, comparing to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, and that's why you, my son, are not holding the same level as his son. Yes. Have a great day, everybody. First of all, thank you to everyone on Torah and Time, YouTube, and here. And I'm willing here to hear your questions. Yes.